anybody that don't have receipts. I don't respect a friend that don't have receipts. If you ain't got no wounds, I ain't got no time. Tell hell to read the Bible. He got back up again. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. And be glad. Somebody open up your mouth and give God a praise. John 20, verse 19 through 31. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. And when he had so said, he showed unto them his hands and his side. Watch closely. He showed unto them his hands and his side. Then were the disciples glad when they saw the Lord. Then said Jesus to them again, Peace be unto you, as my Father hath sent me, even so I send you. Notice that. Go back to that verse again. Then said Jesus to them again. When he said it the first time, he didn't get reaction. He said, Peace be unto you. The first time they was just looking at him. So he escalated and showed them his wounds, where they had pierced him in his side and the nail prints in his hand. And then he said it again. And the Bible said when they saw that, then they believed. And now he says, Peace be unto you, as my Father hath sent me, even so send I you. And when he had said this, he breathed on them. Hallelujah. Said unto them, Receive ye the Holy Ghost. Whosoever sins ye remit, they are remitted, and unto them, and whosoever sins ye retain, they are retained. But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said unto him, We have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hands the prints of the nails, and put my finger into the print of his nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe. And after 8 days again, his disciples were within, and Thomas with him. Then came Jesus, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, wait a minute, I just realized Jesus will come back for one person. Jesus wasn't worried about the numbers. He wasn't worried about the crowd. He wasn't worried about the multitude. He came back for one person and did the whole thing over again. He says, Peace be unto you. Then he saith to Thomas, Reach hither thy finger. Wait a minute, Jesus, you wasn't even here when he said that. How did you know what Thomas said to them when you weren't around? Reach hither thy finger and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. Thomas answered and said unto him, My Lord and my God. Jesus said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. And many other signs truly did Jesus in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that believing ye might have life through his name. When you start thinking about the word respect in the tense of its original meaning, you begin to understand that respect is more than just to give honor or tribute or recognition. It is more than that. You can respect, you can inspect, you can look into something, which is to inspect, or you can respect, or you can have a spectacle, something that is amazing to look at, but it is all centered around seeing. And though the word respect is not there, unless I see the nail prints in his hand and see where you have pierced him in the side, I will not believe. Respect is to see again. There's a spirit of doubt that is pervasive in our society that I don't know if we believe anybody anymore. There's a spirit of such doubt that if you don't have absolute receipts, and sometimes even with receipts, with pure evidence, people still insist on not believing because they are so filled with an attitude of doubt. So since everyone is editorializing facts and that are often mere opinions, and they pass as facts, anybody who says anything on any format, you have to fight their opinion as if it were a fact. We have become investigators of legitimacy. There are many people who are searching for receipts all the time. Often they accept fake receipts as evidence. So they're satisfied that if somebody else collaborates and agrees with them, they accept that as evidence. Yeah, child, I heard it. 3 other people told me about it. It must be true. It's hard for an uncertain society to have peace. You will notice that the first thing Jesus says when he walks in the room to them, the first thing he says is, peace be unto you. The reason he says peace be unto you is because it is difficult to have peace when you are uncertain. And we're living in an era of uncertainty, where it is difficult to know absolute truth, what you believe, what you can count on, what is law that will be exercised. Will it be just for everybody? Will it be fair for anybody? We don't know what to believe. We don't know exactly what is going on in Ukraine. I have read every news from every place I could find it. I listened at what we said. I listened at what the cable news said. I listened at what the evening news said. I looked at what the BBC said. I called people in other countries to hear what they said, because in the multitude of counsel there is safety trying to get at truth, because I don't want to spin on my truth. In an uncertain atmosphere, you don't even know what to believe. Does anyone know anymore what to believe? When Jesus walks into this room, he walks into a room filled with uncertainty. Was he who he said he was? How could he be the Lord of glory and the Son of God and be stripped of his clothing and nailed to a tree and die before our eyes and placed in a tomb? Was he real? Did I spend the last 3 years wasting my time? Uncertainty. We have that kind of uncertainty in relationships that are broken off. Did you ever love me? Was any of it real? Can I believe the flowers? Can I trust the cards? Can I trust you're nice to be authentic, or was it manipulative? If you've ever been uncertain, it'll keep you up at night. It'll take away your sleep. People who normally fall asleep easily will stop sleeping because they're in an atmosphere of uncertainty. If you've ever had a lump in your body and you wasn't sure what it was, it will make you sick with worry. Even though you don't have evidence as to what it is, the uncertainty is often worse than the diagnosis. I don't like ambiguity. I don't like to spend days and days trying to figure out what you meant when you said what I heard. Was it this or that or the other? You don't like me, just tell me. Tell me. You through with me? Tell me. You don't want me? Tell me. You don't love me? Tell me. I would rather have the pain of rejection than the trauma of uncertainty. How many of you have gone through something and you thought, oh my God, this is the big one? Or prayed a prayer, Lord, if you just get me out of this, I promise I will never do that again. If you just please just get me out of this. I know it was my fault and I know it brought it on myself, but oh God, I need you to get me out of it because I don't know how this is going to turn out. Uncertainty. Jesus comes in the room and he speaks peace just like he did on the boat. He woke up out of sleep and he spoke to the storm and he said, peace be still. Somebody shout, peace. That's what you need. Now Jesus is having to prove to the saints that he rose from the dead. Because on the other side of it, the evidence was so strong. Lord have mercy. The evidence was so strong. It was so compelling. They saw him hung high. They saw him stretched wide. They saw the nails in his hand. They saw where they pierced him in the side. They had taken his rigor mortis ridden body down off the cross, and they had pulled his dead, cold arm away from the nails with a thud, and they had seen the blood congeal, and they knew that he was dead, and they had forced his arms into the death position and prepared him for burial. They had wrapped him up in linen strips, as was the custom of the day, and surrounded him in linen, and they were not sure that he was living, but they were sure that he was dead. And once you get a mindset that is set in a particular direction, it is difficult to get you change it. It is difficult to get it out of your head because it has almost been seared into your mind with a hot iron that what you saw with your eyes is true. And Jesus is trying to get them to look again. Respect. Your first look might be wrong. Your first look has to fight through your perspective. The receipts of authenticity of his lordship is not in his crown. It is not in the 10,000 angels that he could have called from heaven. The receipts of authenticity of his lordship is in his wounds. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Thomas didn't say, unless I see his crown, unless I see angels all around him, I will not believe. Unless I see him walk on water, I will not believe. Unless I see him standing in clouds of glory, I will not believe. No, Thomas required the receipt of the thing he had survived. There are people in this room that don't look like what they've been through. They got on fresh garments, but they got old wounds. They changed their hair, but they got old wounds. They got on nice cologne, but they got old wounds. They got their hair cut differently, but they got old wounds. And they don't look like what they've been through, and they're wondering why people don't believe in you. I will never believe in you as long as you change your garments and don't show me your wounds. I will only believe in you when you get the courage to be transparent enough to show me your wounds, because your wounds are the receipts that become evidence that build faith. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. So the problem with most of us, and preachers in particular, we have difficulty being effective in ministry because we keep showing them new clothes, but we don't have the power to show them old wounds. No receipts. So don't be dating nobody who looks perfect. Don't be dating nobody who hadn't made no mistakes. Don't be dating because they're lying. Don't be dating nobody who's trying to convince you that they ain't done nothing wrong because they lying. Don't be fooling with nobody who's trying to impress you with how sharp they are because they lying. Anybody can buy clothes. I'm not going to believe because you dress nice, Jesus. Show me your receipts. No receipts. No receipts. Neither they who are circumcised keep the law, but desire to have you circumcised, that they may glory in your flesh. Y'all didn't hear the beauty of that text. People who can't do it themselves are trying to make you do stuff that they can't do and make you feel bad about yourself, when in reality, they ain't no better than you are. You can't be useful if you can't stop bleeding? You can't be useful in your marriage. You can't be useful in your business. You can't be useful in your church. You can't be useful in any area of your life if you can't stop bleeding. Jesus does not come into the upper room bleeding. I'm hot mad about the way they talk about Thomas. The propaganda, the rumor Thomas had to live through is still going on today. Even though it is not mentioned in the Bible, to this present day, they're still calling him Doubting Thomas. They never called him Doubting Thomas in the Bible, but somewhere along the way they started calling him Doubting Thomas. It's fake news. It's propaganda. I want to clear up this myth about Thomas. Thomas was not Doubting Thomas. His name was Thomas. He's the same guy who said that if Jesus is going to die, I must go and die with him. He is not Doubting Thomas. And by the way, he's no worse than the other disciples who didn't believe Jesus when he came in the room. They didn't believe him either until he showed the receipts. What is the difference between Thomas wanting to have receipts and the other 10 wanting to have receipts? They both had to have receipts before they would believe for peace, and yet you hung this title on him. And the reason I'm fighting for him, I'm fighting for every preacher who can't get out from under a title that somebody put on you that says, I know you win. The devil is a lie. I break that curse off of your life. I break it off of your ministry. I break it off of your reputation.